Have you ever walked into a quiet room in your home and felt like something was missing, but couldn't quite put your finger on it? Maybe you glanced over at an old photo, saw your grandchild's handwriting on a birthday card, or just remembered a time when your phone rang more often than it does now. It's a strange feeling, isn't it? That sense that time has moved on, and somehow the connections you once had feel a little thinner, a little quieter. Now, let me ask you this. Have you ever wondered what your kids are feeling during the times when you're not around? Not just the big absences, like when you've moved to a different city or stopped visiting as often, but even the small ones. The weeks without a call, the birthdays you skip, the little silences that build up over time. You see, growing older changes a lot of things. It shifts our pace, our priorities, and sometimes even the roles we've always held in the family. Where you were once the anchor, the daily voice, the dependable presence, now there might be more space between visits, fewer dinners together, maybe less urgency to check in. It's easy to think your children have moved on, that they're too busy with work, parenting, life, but the truth is your absence carries more weight than you might realize. Today, I want to talk with you, not at you, about what's really going on in your children's hearts and minds when you're not there. Because even though they may not say it out loud, there are things they feel deeply, and I believe that understanding these unspoken feelings can help you feel more connected, more empowered, and more at peace with your place in their lives. Let's begin with something simple but powerful. Blank. Underscore. Blank. 1. A quiet sense of guilt. When you're not around, your children often feel a quiet sense of guilt. Not the loud kind. Not the kind that comes with tears or apologies. It's the kind that sneaks in late at night when they realize it's been too long since they last called. They remember your voice, your laugh, your advice, and they wish they had picked up the phone yesterday, or last week, or last month, but they didn't. Not because they didn't care, but because life happened. Work was hectic, the kids were sick, they meant to call, but the day slipped away. And when they finally lie down at night, it hits them. I should have called Dad. I hope Mom's okay. That guilt, while quiet, builds up over time, and it creates a small ache in their hearts. They may not talk about it, but it's there. Blank. Underscore. Blank. 2. An invisible fear. When you're out of sight for too long, that guilt often turns into fear. They begin to wonder, what if something happened, and I wasn't there? What if I don't have as much time with them as I thought? That's not something they'll bring up in casual conversation. Most adult children try to stay strong in front of their parents. They don't want you to worry. But deep down, your absence reminds them of how fragile time really is. You might think they're too busy to notice that they've got their own lives now. And maybe they don't even think about you as often. But they do. Sometimes your absence doesn't show up in a phone call or a text. It shows up in the way they linger on an old voicemail, or how they smile a little when they hear a song that reminds them of you. It's in the small ways, the quiet ways. Blank. Underscore. Blank. 3. Words of regret left unsaid. Another feeling that often comes up for your children, whether they admit it or not, is regret. Not just regret over missed time, but regret over words they never said. Many adult children carry memories that feel unresolved. Maybe it was an argument years ago. Maybe it was a phase of life where they pushed you away without even knowing they were doing it. Now that they're older, more mature, they sometimes wish they could go back and be more patient, more understanding, more present, but they can't. So when you're not around, those old regrets start whispering again. Sometimes they want to reach out, but they don't know how. They worry you might still be hurt, or that too much time has passed. So instead of calling, they stay silent, not because they don't love you, but because they don't know where to begin. And every day that passes makes the silence feel heavier. And yet, here's the beautiful part. Your presence, even in small ways, has the power to lighten that weight. A simple message, a handwritten card, a warm smile on a video call. It doesn't take much. But those moments remind them that love still lives between you. That even if time has passed, The bond isn't broken, just resting, waiting to be reawakened. Blank. Underscore. Blank. 4. A hidden need for your guidance. You might think your kids have it all figured out, that they're too busy to notice your absence. But here's what most parents don't realize. Your kids miss your guidance more than they let on. They might not ask for advice the way they used to. They might not need help with homework or rides to school anymore. But what they do need, more than ever, is your wisdom, your steadiness, your ability to see the big picture when they're drowning in the small stuff. They won't always say it. In fact, they might act like they've got it all figured out. But deep down, there are days when they wish you were there to sit with them. Remind them that it's going to be okay. Or just say, "I'm proud of you." Your absence can make those moments of uncertainty feel even more lonely for them. Because you've always been the person they quietly leaned on, even when they didn't say so out loud. So don't ever think you've stopped being needed. You're not a chapter that's closed. You're a part of the foundation that still holds their lives together. And when you're not around, that part of the foundation feels a little less sturdy. Blank. Underscore. Blank. 5. Appreciation that blooms from absence. There's also something incredibly tender that your absence can bring out in your children. Appreciation. You see, when you've always been there, it's easy to take it for granted. The check-in calls, the care packages, the stories, the steady love. But when that regular rhythm pauses, your kids start to remember all the small ways you've shown up for them across the years. They begin to recognize that not everyone had what they had. Not every friend of theirs grew up with a parent who stayed up late helping with projects, or cooked their favorite meals, or just listened, really listened, without judgment. In your absence, they begin to see the gift that your presence has always been. And for many of them, that realization is humbling. It softens them. It reminds them that love isn't always loud or flashy. It's in the quiet consistency, the patience, the way you always remembered birthdays, or how you never forgot what they liked in their coffee. Those things seemed small at the time, but now, they shine like gold in their memory. Blank. Underscore. Blank. 6. Pride in your own life. Now, of course, not all of what your children feel in your absence is sorrow or longing. Sometimes, especially if you've raised them with strong values and confidence, they feel a powerful sense of pride. Pride in the life you've built. Pride in your independence. Pride in watching you embrace your golden years with grace, with joy, with dignity. They talk about you with their friends. They tell stories of the strength you showed during hard times, or the humor you still bring into a room, or the lessons you taught them about kindness, forgiveness, or perseverance. They admire that you're still growing, still exploring, still showing up in your own way. Your absence in their daily lives doesn't mean you're forgotten. It means they've internalized your presence so deeply that you've become part of who they are. Your voice echoes in their decisions. Your spirit lives in their parenting. Your legacy is in motion every day, whether you're there to see it or not. Blank. Underscore. Blank. 7. The weight of responsibility and the loneliness of self-doubt. As children grow older, they slowly begin to realize that the roles are shifting, that the hands that once cared for them may now need care in return. It's not always a dramatic moment. Sometimes it's subtle. The first time they worry about your health, or when they catch themselves wondering if you've eaten well, or if the house is too quiet. And suddenly, without anyone saying it, they begin to feel responsible. Not out of burden, but out of love. They want to show up for you the way you showed up for them. But sometimes, they just don't know how. They're navigating careers, marriages, raising kids of their own, and in the chaos of daily life, they forget how quickly time slips by. Your absence, especially if you've been quiet for a while, becomes a reminder that nothing is guaranteed, that they can't keep putting it off, assuming there will always be a next weekend, or next summer, or next holiday. And that realization brings a quiet weight, a sense of, I need to do better. I need to make time. And it's not because you demanded anything. It's because you matter more to them than they know how to express. Blank. blank. The emotional anchor. You know, one of the most surprising things I've heard from adult children over the years is this: I miss just knowing mom was around. Not necessarily talking every day. Not needing anything. Just knowing you were there. Just a call away. Your presence, even when it's quiet, is like an emotional safety net. And when that net disappears, whether through time, distance, or silence, it can leave them feeling more vulnerable than they ever expected. We often assume that once our children are grown, they no longer need our emotional support. But that couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, one of the most profound things your absence creates in their lives is a longing for emotional stability. Because no matter how old your kids get, they still have moments of self-doubt, heartbreak, and confusion. And in those moments, your steady voice, your way of saying, "You'll get through this," carries a power they can't find anywhere else. They may not say it out loud. In fact, they might act like they've got it all under control. But deep down, they miss the way you used to calm storms. They miss knowing that no matter how messy life got, you'd help them sort through it. And when that emotional anchor disappears, even temporarily, it can leave them feeling a little lost at sea. Blank. Blank. It's never too late. If you've ever felt like your role in your children's lives has faded, if you've ever wondered whether your presence still matters, I want you to know this. It absolutely does. Your kids might be grown, but the emotional roots you planted in them still run deep. They still draw strength from your presence, even in silence, even from afar. And maybe, just maybe, your absence reminds them of how much you shaped them. How much of who they are today started with the quiet lessons you taught by simply being there. Day after day, year after year, you have more power than you realize to shift the energy toward healing, connection, and joy. And if you've ever felt that maybe it's too late to repair, too late to rebuild, I want you to hear this clearly. It's not, as long as there's breath in your body and love in your heart. There's always a way back. Families aren't perfect, but the love between a parent and a child has a way of surviving storms, silence, and even years of distance. Sometimes it just needs a little spark, a little reminder, a small gesture that says, "I still care, I'm still here." That's all it takes to reopen the door. And once it's open, you'll be amazed at what can walk through.